All right, guys, welcome back to Insurance Tips for Contractors. I'm Abe Bowling. I have been a contractor tradesman specialist for a little over 16 years. The goal of this channel is to bring clarity to all things insurance for all contractors. Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest things that is misunderstood in the construction insurance world, and that is the general liability policy, which ironically enough is the cornerstone to which everything else is based off of. Every contractor knows they need it. Very few take the time to really understand what it is, what it does, what it doesn't do, and then how those differences can either protect your company or leave you exposed. So, general liability at its core is designed to protect your business against third-party claims. This means that if your business operations cause bodily injury, property damage, personal advertising injury to someone outside of your company, your general liability policy steps in. So, if a homeowner trips over your extension cord, breaks their arm, your general liability is there. If you accidentally bust a client's window while hauling in materials, your general liability is there. That's the core of it, protecting you against claims and lawsuits brought by others. So, what it does not cover, here's where a lot of people get caught off guard. Your general liability policy has limits, and knowing what is not covered is just as important, maybe even more important, as knowing what is covered. For example, it doesn't cover damage to your work if it fails later. If you pour a concrete slab and it cracks because it wasn't done right, the cost to redo that slab is on you. It doesn't cover tools, equipment, or vehicles. That requires inland marine or commercial auto coverage. It doesn't cover employee injuries. That's obviously what workers' compensation is for. And oftentimes, it excludes subcontractor work. I would say that's more common than not. If your subs don't have their own coverage, that gap alone has bankrupted more than a few small contractors. So understanding those exclusions ahead of time can save you from a financial disaster. So think of your general liability policy as a net. The insuring agreement, the section that spells out what the policy covers, is the wide part of the net. It's broad, but the exclusions, those are the holes. So, for contractors, the most critical exclusion is the your work exclusion. This means that the policy will pay for damage your work causes to someone else's property, but it won't pay to fix your own bad work. So, another example, if you install a roof and it leaks, the policy won't pay for the roof replacement itself. But if that leak destroys drywall and flooring inside the home, then the policy may cover that resulting damage. There's a fine line, and it's one that, a lot of contractors don't think about until after there's a claim. So, how do you actually make sense of your general liability policy? Well, here are 3 steps. 1, you can start with the insuring agreement. This is the promise that your insurance company makes. Read it carefully. It sets the stage for everything. Number 2, study the exclusions. This is where you're going to find the holes in your policy: pollution, faulty workmanship, contractual liability, a subcontractor exclusion. These are very common. Number 3, look at the endorsements. The endorsements either add coverage back or they take it away. So, for example, if you're a subcontractor, you may need an endorsement that names the general contractor as additional insured. Without it, you may not even qualify for certain jobs. So, here's what I recommend. Pull out your general liability policy, identify the insuring agreement, identify the exclusions, and then identify the endorsements. Write down the big things that you see that are not covered. These are your exposure points. And then last, talk to your agent about filling those gaps. Maybe, you get a different policy. Maybe you need a workers' comp policy. Maybe you need coverage for tools and equipment. Maybe you find out that your policy isn't covering what you do at all and you thought that it was. Or you can call us. Our number is right down below. We'd be happy to do a review of your general liability policy, give you an honest assessment of where it's at. At the end of the day, general liability insurance is the foundation of your protection as a contractor. Foundation only works if you know where the cracks are. So by truly understanding what your policy covers and what it doesn't, you're not just buying insurance, you're buying peace of mind, you're buying protection, and you're building a safer future for your business. That's it for today's episode of Insurance Tips for Contractors. If you found this helpful, share it with another contractor you know. And if you want a second set of eyes on your policy, I'd be happy to help walk you through it. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.